Welcome to Inside Drug Discovery. This video presents a drug, Hepcludex, which was recently approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. This video focuses on the medicinal chemistry and drug discovery properties of the molecule rather than the compound's therapeutic benefit. Hepcludex was approved on May 22nd of 2026. Hepcludex is approved for the treatment of chronic hepatitis D infection in adult patients without cirrhosis or with compensated cirrhosis, so early stage cirrhosis. The API in Hepcludex is bulevirtide-gmod, which is a sizable modified peptide. The drug is administered subcutaneously once per day in an 8.5 milligram dose. The sponsor for the NDA is Gilead, which has a history of developing treatments for viral infections. A link to the prescribing information insert of Hepcludex is shown on this slide, as well as in the video description. Hepcludex is indicated for treatment of hepatitis D infection. There are several different hepatitis viruses that infect humans. Infections from hepatitis A and E viruses often arise from poor sanitation, perhaps food or unclean water, and typically cause acute infections. Hepatitis C virus is spread by blood-to-blood contact, like needle sticks or contaminated blood, and causes chronic disease, and often leads to the need for liver transplants. Hepatitis B virus is transmitted through certain bodily fluids, can cause acute or chronic disease, and can lead to cirrhosis or liver cancer. Finally, hepatitis D virus only infects hepatitis B patients and can lead to making the hepatitis B infection more aggressive. The target for bulevirtide, the API in Hepcludex, is sodium taurocholate cotransporting polypeptide, or NTCP. This transporter is often also called SLC10A1. This transporter is displayed on the surface of hepatocytes and is recognized by both the hepatitis B and D viruses to gain cell entry. By binding NTCP, bulevirtide inhibits HDV attachment. Bulevirtide has an IC50 value of around 80 picomolar. I'd normally make a big fuss about sub-nanomolar binding, but bulevirtide is a big compound, way bigger than a typical small molecule drug, so higher potency should be expected. Here is a more proper structure of bulevirtide than the cartoon I showed on the video thumbnail. This structure was lifted directly from the prescribing information insert, so please do not be angry with me, Gilead. With small molecules, I always talk about physicochemical properties, but this isn't an orally administered drug, so discussing Lipinski criteria really makes no sense here. Bulevirtide has 47 amino acids in its backbone. The N-terminus is over here in the lower left, and the C-terminus is toward the right. The N-terminus is acylated with this fatty acid chain, 14 carbons, a myristoyl group. When I see a peptide with a lipid chain, I assume the chain is in place to raise plasma protein binding. In the case of bulevirtide, the chain also plays a key role in target binding. All the amino acids in the compound are natural. The C-terminus is a C-terminal amide, not a carboxylic acid. Before we leave this structure, I want to marvel a bit that a 47 residue peptide can be synthetically prepared at scale, meet regulatory purity requirements, and make it to approval. I know that the GLP-1 drugs have 30 plus residues, but every lengthening of the chain brings more and more challenges. So hats off to the process chemists who made this happen. The PK properties show that bulevirtide has a relatively short half-life of 3 hours. Some information online indicates that although the peptide is cleared from the plasma quickly, the compound resides on the target for longer, so that the efficacy of the drug extends well beyond what plasma exposures might indicate. Bulevirtide is not hepatically cleared like most small molecule drugs. The compound is instead subject to various proteases in the body, which break down the compound into smaller peptides. The excretion products of bulevirtide consist of these smaller peptide chains, individual amino acids, and their metabolites. In terms of warnings and precautions, Hepcludex carries risks of hypersensitivity. Patients can also experience severe flare-ups of their condition if they discontinue use of the drug. This latter advisory is a boxed warning on the product label. At least 10% of treated patients experienced injection site reactions, headache, abdominal pain, fatigue, and pruritus, or general itching. That wraps up the summary of the NDA approval of Hepcludex, which was announced by the U.S. FDA on May 22nd of 2026. Hepcludex contains bulevirtide as its active pharmaceutical ingredient. Hepcludex is indicated for treatment of hepatitis D viral infections in certain patients. As always, thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you have enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment. Take care.